name is Margaret Ann Windsor, and I hope I can make this video tonight and upload it. I want this to go to a special person that I thank her very much. If she watches it, she'll know who I'm speaking of. I saw a picture. Well, let me just say this. I was kidnapped and brought to Moulton, Alabama in 1941. It's hard for me to talk right now. If you could see outside my window, you would understand why. If you don't know the background on this, and I put a lot of YouTubes up and Facebook, if you just see this video, you think, well, what's wrong with that lady? Well, it was my birthright. That's the people that kidnapped me and brought me over to Alabama and gave me another name of the twin that was dead, Peggy Ann Dempsey Childers. I'm going to show you these photos again. And I just saw a photo today going back to 1936. And it had to have been put up there for a reason. It just, in the royal family. Actually, it said it was my father, and you know what? I didn't get to read the rest of it. Underneath it, it was a woman who obviously was not my mother, and a little girl. Well, I was born in 1939, and I do remember the photos that was taken. And then thereafter, let me say this. Up until I was in high school, the photos would go missing. You couldn't find them anymore. The photo where the two men brought me in, and I remember that. I don't remember anything prior to that, them handing me to that woman, and it was in the summer because I had a little summer dress on. And I remember they gave me to her, and I looked back, I guess, at the camera and them. And I had little blonde curls, and I have to say, looking back, I was a cute little girl, really. And I remember the portrait that was there. I can remember the side. It was on my right hand against the wall. Well, it was outside, so outside the wall. And it was my dad in my christening. And I can remember thinking, seeing my dad's picture, and I was thinking what a beautiful man he is, And then the horror, they were supposed to get money for me and cover up the murder of the twins, Peggy and Carl. They gave me Peggy's name. That's how I grew up in a horrible, horrible setting. Anyway, what I wanted to get to, this is Wallace Simpson, and she married a double. Well, there's other pictures of the double, and he was used to make my dad, they gave him my father's name, and he was supposed to become the Duke and Duchess of Windsor, which is a lie. They were doubles, and she's an American spy. And anyway, some of the pictures that I did get a hold of Wallace and him, they lived in mansions. I have to wonder where my father and mother lived. My mother may have tried to live with Georgia for a while, and some of my other family, Anita, I saw. Now, what's the chance of me coming up? I only found out because the British told me in late '83. One of them was within British intelligence, and I hate to say much because I would like out of this mess and have a few. Well, I'd like to have my name back in the truth told this horror story. But when I was out at Larry Flint's, he knew everything about me. When I went in, I'd never met him. I knew about his shooting in Lawrenceville, Georgia, because I was doing the book up there in Marietta. He flew me out there during the campaign, and what are the chances of the very doctor, U.S. congressman? He was in the John Birch Society and all bunch of stuff. It's horrible. But anyway, the plane he was on, the KAL, August 31st of 83 went down. So I was flown out to Flint's, and that's where, and I hope I'm not getting this young man in trouble. He met me the second time in the limo, Flint's limo, and he was with British intelligence. So I started finding out my name, and I look back, and the people in the horror that I've told that's the truth that can be checked out. I mean, I can't make it up the timeline. the British saved my life, and Germans they did, and I'm sure there's some un-Americans here that have tried too, but most of them treat it like it's a joke. It's funny to them. But I wanted to get this point across too. How is it that I had the picture and it was stolen of Anita O'Keefe Young, my aunt, my mom's sister and George's sister, was at a polo match and sitting at a table with the umbrella and everything, and you could tell by her expression that she was angry. She was turned away. Guess who was sitting beside her? Wallace Simpson. It was almost like I thought she's taunting my aunt. Well, that picture went missing, but how is it that if, you know, it's some of it's too much to be coincidence. You wonder what really is all involved in all of it. I know a good bit, but I want to go back to this about a year ago, and I don't know if it's still there. I didn't check tonight. I am kept moving, and it's hard for me to move anymore, and I'm going to have to move now. My rent's paid, but there's no way I can stay here. I called Gene Kaiser. He was an attorney down there in Atlanta, and he's the only one that really I had that represented me. I guess he did his best ability. He was a former Atlanta prosecutor and district attorney. And there's a gag order on the lawsuits down there. There was two doctors involved. One is Hyman Miller, a Jew, in Atlanta. In Huntsville. And I'm going to give you this woman's name if she's still alive. Her name, if she'll tell you. She asked me one time if he had ever raped me. She said, told me exactly what he did, so I thought, her name was Peggy Ferguson Lauderdale. Then she married someone else because it messed up her life. There's something wrong with the timeline. He would say to her, put your arm around me and then look up at the vent. And the reason I'm saying that is because he did it to me with his wife, bookkeeper out front. And he was going to hypnotize me. I first went to him for just what I thought was slight depression after I'd had both boys so soon, my children. And what was wrong with it is the next minute I know, I'm right back, looking at him. And I said, well, you can't hypnotize me. And I laughed. I said, I guess you couldn't. And then when I got up to leave, it was time to leave. Well, it was only about 15 or 20 minutes after I got there, where it should have been an hour later. How did that go? Anyway, the timeline was all off. So anyway, that was her name. She was in Huntsville, and Bob Lauderdale was her husband. He had been a friend of ours. Now I wanted to get to this. Eugene Kaiser, up until a year ago, I don't know if it's still there, I tried calling him to see if he was still alive, and I found out he was deceased. Come to find out, I think he had been dead about 12 years when I called, and I got his answering machine. When I called that number, it had been kept all these years, and it said, hello, this is Eugene Kaiser, attorney at law. And I could go into, he gave me the Gene Strokerman files, this psychiatrist, oh God, what was his name? I've said it so many, Hardiman, at Larry McDonald's Hospital there, Piedmont. So I could go on and on telling you names, but I wanted to get back into this. I thought it was so nice of him, to have left that message. Now that I want to go back and show this picture of me when I was brought over here. I don't know if anybody out there can do anything or not. This doesn't show much, I guess, but that was me. Remember, I was 2 years old when I was brought here. This is me. This is me in high school. And this was me. I remember running away from, and they had to go out. Somebody deliberately took this, and my video's going off. But that's me in the middle there. So anyway, they didn't have those kind of clothes, and they didn't have the cars. It was a pigsty.